The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. It's Thursday, April 18th, and it is 1 week away from the NFL Draft. Happens next Thursday in the evening, 6 o'clock, I believe, 7 o'clock. When it starts, it starts. Look for the Cowboys to be picking around 9 o'clock or something like that. But maybe later than that. Maybe not even Thursday at all. Who knows if they trade back. That's a scenario that you have to be prepared for. Cowboys need draft picks, and they're going to be sitting there at the 24th pick. A few picks before that, they'll be looking and see, hey, do we have a trade partner? Do we have an opportunity to move back? And how far do we go? And what are we going to get? Because I think they're going to want to get a pick in the fourth round. They're going to want to get maybe another second or third. So, I think you look at your evaluation just like you do every year. Every time you're about to pick, and you go, hey, can we move back here? Are there 7, 8, 9 guys that we still like that would be comfortable, taking when it is our turn? And if that happens, then I think the Cowboys have to consider it, just because this year they do need, they have needs to fill, and they need some picks to do it. So don't be surprised if you have some trade back scenarios. All right, 888-855-2297. That is the number to call. I learned my lesson on this for the actual number for the text line, which I need to throw out there. 817-290-3298 is the number to text. Again, I'm only going to say it a couple more times. If you're on the All Storyline team and you want to, hey, look, there's the graphic. Beautiful graphic. 817-290-3298. If you're on the All Storyline team and you want to get your T-shirt, make sure and send us your address, your name, address, and shirt size so we can get that to you. They should be coming in a couple of weeks, and then we will be able to get them out there. So if you don't send it in, we'll just give it to someone else. All right, good stuff. Let's go, Michael in Colton, California.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? I know everybody's good. Everybody's great. Hey, Nick, I just want to say that I think, if you don't mind, if I could just make a little draft prediction, I think the Cowboys in the first round are going to take the center, JPJ, Powers Johnson, and also in the second round, I'm hoping to see them take Trey Benson out of Florida. I don't want to necessarily go with a hurt running back. I think Trey Benson, man, he's bad. And then I just want to throw out a random Cowboy from back in the day, Roy Williams, man. I think that would have been awesome, because now you see they do so much, hybrid, this guy could play two positions and this and that. I wish we could have seen them give Roy Williams a chance at linebacker when he lost his coverage abilities. That would have been cool to see him at linebacker. That guy was a heat-seeking missile, man. You would see him just lay people out. But I'm going to keep it short. You guys have a great day. God bless everybody, and I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. He called yesterday for the first time to lead us off. He's called before as the first caller, if I remember as well. So good stuff there. Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon, really, really good player, physical player. I think the knock on him is just that he's had some injury issues, concussion history of that. Now Trey Benson out of Florida State, I mean, he's a dynamic player. He's a guy that has a home run ability. He's had a couple of 80-yard touchdowns last year. And I think what you're alluding to, you don't want to take Jonathan Brooks out of Texas, a guy that is coming off an ACL injury. I think they look at these things as investments more than just, coming in and playing right now. Now, I'm sure McCarthy would like the running back able to participate in the OTAs and all that. But, I think that you have to be smart about it too. And it's like, okay, is who's going to be better right now? Who has a chance to be outstanding next year or the year after that? And I think that's where you have to make these tough calls. As for Roy Williams, yeah, I mean, we did a documentary on him not too long ago, and we called it, the Deep Blue. We called it the late hit, and it wasn't really because he was a dirty player or anything like that. He did have some some issues with physical play, but really more, if he had played at a different era, maybe back in the 70s or 80s, he could be an All-Pro. Or like you said, maybe if he played now, they'd figure out a different way for him. He would definitely be like in that linebacker role. If Marquise Bell's playing linebacker, Roy Williams is definitely playing linebacker. But I think that he was definitely an outstanding player. But he said to me, if he was playing today, he'd be playing for free because he's not going to change, and he'd be getting penalties, and he just wouldn't adjust, to the rules and things like that. But he was laying the wood for sure, and him and Woodson together were outstanding as a combination there. All right, good call there from Michael, Colton, California. Let's go to Bowling Green, Kentucky. We got Michael, Bowling Green.
Well, dang, I heard the end of that call, and it sounds like it was similar to what I was going to ask you. I had 3 players that I was wondering if you would draft them and where they would have to be. One was Brooks, which you just mentioned. Would you take him in the 2nd or the 3rd round?
Okay.
The other one is Powers Johnson, if he was there 24 because of this mystery illness that he apparently has, and the other one is Sweat, who would, he got the DUI and everything. Where would he have to drop for you to pick him? Because he would
compensatory
probably
4th round.
4th round.
Compensatory 4th round.
That's where
That's an inside joke. If you know, you know. Okay, so Sweat had the DUI, and but he doesn't always stop the Cowboys. I'll just say it. I mean, Dak had one, and that happened to Dak in the middle, right after the combine and before the draft. 4th round, compensatory 4th round, worked out, I think, for Dak.
Oh, okay.
So those 3 guys. Any other question? Any other comment?
No, that was it. And like I said, I heard the end of the first call. I was like, well, it sounds about like what I was doing.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you for the call, Michael. All right. So another question about Brooks and Powers Johnson. Where would you take him? I mean, I can't say that I've seen them a ton. I mean, I have watched Brooks play. Obviously when he was healthy, and I really liked the way he ran, and I know it's wearing 24 and the dreads and all that. I maybe think about Marion Barber, but I like the way he runs. I mean, it's physical, but it's smooth at the same time. So not easy to do at running back. So that might, me personally, probably a 3rd round. I'd be comfortable with that in the 3rd round. I just think the way they are, I know how the way Jerry kind of does it with the 2nd round, but I've thought, if you're not going to be aggressive in free agency, and they just never have been really, that your 1st and 2nd round picks have to be like plug and play players. I mean, they just have to be. Is this a new feature, Chris? We adding like draft stuff in there. I see Jonathan Brooks now. Some Jonathan Brooks highlights. I love
said
this.
You need to see them, so I put some up there for you, baby.
I like it. Look at this. All right. I know not everyone is watching. Some people are doing or just listening online and in their car, but we do have some Jonathan Brooks highlights there, and I mean, it's hard not to look at some Marion Barber when you're just seeing him like around the goal line there, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield too. So I've seen him play. I liked him. Powers Johnson, I just know kind of what he's about, and he would be a guy that you plug in and play as well. So good stuff there. Thanks, Chris, for doing that. He's been spending all of his time getting those kind of clips and stuff for the draft show, if you've watched that. And of course, they've got the mega draft show coming up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all day coverage of the draft while the draft is going on. So anytime they'll be talking about players, they've got little clips like that. So we appreciate him doing that. And, I'm sure we'll throw some Powers Johnson out there at some point, not right now, but I think he's good. I think he'd come in and play. The injury history would be something of a concern there. And as for Sweat, he's got, they got to figure that out a little bit with him and just where he is going to fall on the board. But, I think if they like what they see and they think he's a guy that can mature, then yeah, I'm for it in the, middle round, 4th round, 5th. You don't have a 4th round pick now, but something like that. He has fallen to that point because of some off the field issues. All right, let's go to Travis in San Antonio.
On.
Travis, what's up, man?
Not much. I wanted to ask you eventually kind of a question on what you think of the offseason strategy. I know it's been like a retreaded topic, but it came up on hanging with the boys when I was listening earlier, and was just kind of curious what you thought. But first, I do want to shout out, because I know Chris is going to be busy with the draft stuff going on. I know you guys all are, but especially with him putting up graphics and all that type of stuff. So we're all going to be paying attention. So I want to just tell him as a preemptive thank you and shout out to him for doing all that type of stuff for us. So we appreciate it. And then I know they're talking about on hanging with the boys on kind of just we've talked about it here too, just the fan frustration. And I'm just kind of curious, I'm not saying this would not have changed like fans' opinions, or they wouldn't have been upset. But I'm just kind of curious what you think of. Kurt was kind of talking about, maybe they've got 2 guys for sure to pay, maybe 3 with Micah. Maybe they're not paying guys because they have this dead money that they're paying from the past, and they can't pay it because they're so it's hard to pay guys in the future. But then he looked it up, and he was like, oh, there's 17 million dead cap. The league average is 25. They're 25th in dead cap, and other teams are kind of figuring out. So he was like, so maybe that's why fans are frustrated, and I think it is. And I'm just kind of curious, why. I think for me it's just the lack of explaining any kind of plan. And I know I still would be frustrated, so I'm not saying I wouldn't be, but I think after 4 or 5 days of frustration of they're all in, or whatever you want to call it, is maybe they're just cleaning the books. Maybe they're saying in their heads, hey, we have pushed contracts back the last 4, 5, 6 years, and we're trying to get our books in line for the next 5 or 6. Would I have liked that? No. But if they had said that, Nick, I feel like myself and maybe other fans would be like, okay, I'm still frustrated with free agency and whatever, but after 3 or 4 or 5 days, I'd be like, okay, I get it. At least here's the plan. This is why. Here's where we're going, going forward. So I'm just kind of curious why you think they wouldn't just outright say that.
Yeah, I don't think that they want to show out what their plan is. I think they're always going to be that way. Where why tell you guys what the plan is? Why tell other teams what the plan? You said that about the plan. I mean, I'm sure that they definitely have a plan. It's just that it doesn't have. You don't have to reveal it. That's one thing I've always seen about press conferences. They don't have to talk if they don't want to.
I get it. I get it. But then my only counterpoint to that would be, which we do have to acknowledge, is between these 2 executives, they're on and out there talking, which a lot of times we appreciate, but they're out there talking a lot of times more so than any other executive. So I feel like maybe we just feel, and maybe you can say it to me too, Nick. You can say, hey, maybe you guys just feel like you're too entitled to know what the plan is.
Well, I think we all feel that way. We all kind of feel like that because we want to be right. Everybody wants to be right in what they're saying, and so they're like,
I don't know, right, Nick? I think we just want to know. I know you said they have but even you could even say them kind of sidestepping ways of dropping little hints of this is what we are doing. Yeah. I guess you don't want to say it directly, but I'm just curious on that. But then the draft, real quick. I'll see what you think. I'm hoping that Tylisi Fuaga, speaking of what you said earlier about guys that can play, your first and second round picks got to play this year. I'm hoping that they brought him in for a 30 visit. He's projected to be a top 10, 15 kind of guy, but I'm hoping that maybe they know something we don't know in that realm, and maybe he slips a little bit. And I would 100%, and I hope they're considering it, maybe giving up a 2025 second or a third maybe to go up a couple spots and get him. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's the tackle out of Oregon State, and he kind of gives me Eric Williams vibes with how nasty he is. So I'm kind of hoping that's my long shot dream hope for the draft. But other than that, see what you think, and you guys have a great week, and appreciate it.
Thanks, Travis. Me personally, I'm not interested in trading up for anybody. That's not what I would consider doing. You've already done that. You've traded up. You traded up last year, and I know that fans don't care about that. They don't care about, what has already happened. No one cares. So no one cares that they traded up to, they traded to get Brandon Cooks and Gilmore and Trey Lance. That, 2 of those guys probably won't even help them this year. So I understand that, but that's, they've already done that, so they don't have a lot of picks, and so to be trading up. I think at 24, you got to get what you get, if not trade back. So somebody's always falling. Someone's that they like is going to fall. And I think they have enough needs that they could probably go that route. So that's me personally not really trying to move up that far. Some of the things you said, like, you said dead cap, the average is 25 or right now or 17, but that's the point. Like, they're not looking at just this year. They're looking at next year where it's going to be 65. So if the average is 25 and they're sitting at 65, that's going to be a problem. And they're trying to make sure that it's not that they're somewhat competitive next year. That's where all this is going. They're trying to stay competitive this year for sure, next year as well, and so and on after that. So that's why they've said that they feel like this is kind of an all-in year, because this is the year that they really have to get this thing done, and they've been pushing to get to this point right now. And but then as for why not say that and all that, I mean. That's good luck trying to get Jerry and Steven to say exactly what you want them to say at all times. I mean, it's just it's this whole thing's gone out of control, this all-in stuff, because it just hasn't been used the way that I think that they meant it to be, and it's just caused even more frustration to the fan base, which has started out frustrated, and I understand that. After last year, the way it ended, I mean, it couldn't have ended worse than it did, and so. Usually, you come back from that and you try to fix it, and it's kind of been the opposite, which has only added to the frustration. All right, let's go to Rob in Vegas.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Rob.
I watched the interview with Stephen Jones. I think it was 105.3, and I think it came off terrible. I mean, Jerry's like the old grandpa who's fun to hang out with. He's still hip. He's still cool. And Steven comes out off like a spoiled rich kid riding his daddy's coattails. That's how he comes off to me. I mean, it's like he thinks, and let's be honest, as Cowboy fans, we've been like this, that no matter what the product he's going to put out there, we're going to support the team. We're going to keep them the richest team. And I don't know, I just got a bad vibe from him the other day. The crap that he was saying about the money, come on, that is so ridiculous. When you see teams like the Eagles and stuff, we always talk, that's fake money. If the Cowboys want to do it, they could do it. If you wanted to sign Dak, you save $20 million. If you do something with CD right now, you save about 10. There's $30 million right there with two guys. Go sign Micah with the rest. I mean, I don't know. He just came off bad, and I don't want to. I know you can't comment. I'm putting you in a bad spot, so I'm just talking.
Yeah.
But he just comes off bad. I'm sorry. He's come off bad before, and I'm sorry. I just look at him like that, and I don't know what's going to happen. God forbid when Jerry finally is not around. But Thursdays I usually try to keep it light, Nick. So last week I came up with the draft, but we're going to do something different. We try to get to know each other. Favorite era of music and favorite band or bands or singer. What's your favorite era of music?
I don't even have to say era. It's just a year. If it came out in 1993, that's me. 1993. It doesn't really matter what it is.
So 93 was that? That's the grunge era, I would say.
Yeah, but no, that's not me. Anyways, 93, 94. I mean, I'll tell you this. They asked the other day, what's my song for karaoke is Gin and Juice. And my favorite song of all time favorite song is This Is How We Do It, Montel Jordan.
Okay.
That is my favorite song for multiple reasons. And
it's like the biggest wedding song.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't think so, but well, maybe. Anyways, that's me. What about yours? What's yours?
Well, I'm an 80s. To me, the 80s is the best. You still had the big power bands of the 70s like Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, and then you throw in the hair bands of the 80s, and then you throw in the new wave of Depeche Mode and The Cure, and I just think the 80s, and that's probably why Van Halen is probably my favorite band, and I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas own. I lean towards guitarist. I think Stevie Ray is the greatest guitarist ever. But I think the 80s. I love Depeche Mode. I love The Cure. I love rap growing up in New York, LL Cool J.
All right.
But, yeah, I say the 80s.
Okay. All right, good stuff. And thanks for the call. I'm going to talk about what you said last week. I thought it was interesting. You came up with a game that everyone jumped on, and it was good, of drafting someone from the 90s that could help this team. And I think we went 7 picks. I started out with him and thought that was pretty obvious. And then, I got to go back. Dion was mentioned. Oh, I have it right here. Dion, Nate, Larry Allen, Ken Norton, Stepnoski, and then Russell Maryland. And then I threw in Darren Woodson. So 7 to 8 guys. What I think is interesting about that is when you think about who was not picked on there. All this talk. I mean, every show, it's, well, Dak can't do this, Dak can't do that. And it's mainly because he hasn't done it yet. So that's why they think like he's not going to. But I did think it was kind of weird that we did a draft like that with 8 picks and no one said Aikman to come in and help this team. That was just, I mean, somebody might have said that, like, oh, I was saying that, but I thought that was kind of interesting. That just kind of goes to show some of the other glaring needs and also how talented that team really was. So, anyways, good call there, Rob. Like you said earlier about the stuff with Steven and how he comes across. I mean, that stems back to your frustration, and I get that. And also the point of they could do this if they wanted to. They could do this if they wanted to. You're not wrong with that. I think we had to figure out is why they don't want to. What's the drawback there? Why are they trying not to do that? There's a reason why they're trying not to do that. And just because they could get $30 million doesn't mean that they want to go and sign someone and use that. So I think the one thing that people are forgetting here is that this team is really, really trying to lean in on their young players. It's time to do that. It's time to see what they've got in some of these guys that haven't gotten a chance to play. So, that there is I think they feel like there's some progress stoppers if you tried to add in some veteran guys. They think that they've got some young guys that just need to play, and they're definitely going to get the chance to do that. All right, let's go to the next caller, Tamara in Iowa.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm great.
First-time caller, for sure.
Ooh, here we go.
There we go.
Thank you. I have the pressure. I heard that I was going after Rob in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I hope I'm up to that challenge, and I can bring it here. So All-Stars. I love the All-Star concept. I didn't hear any women representation, so that is my goal.
And
I hope you know.
Are you talking about on the all StoryLine team?
Yes.
There was.
Oh, okay.
Irene in Virginia made it. Irene in Virginia. Yep.
Okay, well, I want Tamara from Iowa to make it next year.
All right. All right. That sounds good.
So my dream podcast, we were talking about that last podcast host.
Okay.
I think a couple days ago. You're number 1. You're my favorite.
Yes.
Brian, number 2, and then Derek, Ambar, and Nate all tied for 3. I know that's way too many for a
So
podcast,
that's just like the break from 2 years ago and Nate.
I love Nate because he's funny.
Yeah. Oh, he's funny when he wants to be. When he wants to be funny, he's funny. When he wants to be serious, then he just can't stop talking about anything but the offensive line. You're like, Nate, what do you think about who's going to replace Diggs if he's hurt? He's like, yeah, man, that offensive line though's got to block better. So sometimes he just gets the in and out offensive line. But when he wants to be funny, he's as funny as they get.
Well, I think sometimes when he's not being funny, he's funny too. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that is a quality there. Yeah.
That's why I like it so much. A previous caller, I think maybe last week, said that they really wanted us to avoid drafting injured players this year.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me. And here's the thing. I know I feel like it sort of goes along with the Cowboys theme of let's get that bargain basement player. Let's get that really good deal. Let's get, the most bang for our buck. But sometimes I feel like and I would add to that, not just I would like us to avoid injured players this year, and also people with off-field issues. And
yeah.
I hate to say the word, but maybe head cases, if they suspect it. Randy Gregory, I love Randy Gregory. He would be one of we were so patient with him. And that's the thing. I feel like, the front office, not me so much, but
yeah.
I feel like sometimes the front office thinks that they have some magical elixir that they can would just get anybody that has talent. And I know, like Randy Gregory, he's a freak. But you can't. I think they've proven over and over again that they can't just pour some magical elixir.
You're right.
And it just doesn't seem to work out for us. And it's
You're
so
exactly
frustrating
right.
as a fan. It's so frustrating. And so then we also talked about bringing back previous players that have left. And so I would love to bring back 100% healthy Sean Lee.
Yeah.
I know he was never that, but I wish if we could pour magic elixir on him and make him 100% healthy, that's who I'd want back. Yeah. And then also, this is going to sound contradictory, but I also like Randy Gregory, the last year that he was here.
Yeah, a little contradictory. It definitely did sound that way, but yeah. But
I'm saying if he could be that the whole time.
Yeah, I got it.
And then, But, I'd like to see us this time draft players that are ready to play right out of the box like Parsons. And I'm going to end on that and just thank you for the quality of the show.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you, though.
Okay.
Because sometimes when you see a national story and you see it from a perspective, you get to talk to people that are actually in it and kind of what their thoughts are, you know? It's kind of like, like when you go to a place and all the, the sightseers see this, but all the locals kind of look at it like, that's not really that cool or whatever. So I have to ask, being from Iowa, this craze that we've seen here lately with Caitlin Clark, what is it like to be there? Is it just unreal that it's all this attention?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm kind of over it. I see.
That's what I thought you would say.
I'm a Cyclones fan.
Then you were over it before it started. You were over it when she decided not to go to Iowa State, probably. I got it. Okay.
No, well,
that makes sense.
I support all Iowa teams.
Yeah.
But it's just, and I'm not really into basketball. NFL football is really my thing.
There you go.
My
Sounds
jam.
like it. Sounds like it. All right. Well, I appreciate that.
Specifically the Cowboys. Oh, one more thing, though.
Yeah.
So you were talking just now. I heard you mention that nobody said Aikman. I think Aikman, Smith, and Irving are just all assumed.
Fair.
On your list when we get back to the 90s. Like, to me, that's just like a one package right there.
Okay. That was a pretty good one. All right. Sounds good.
Well, thank you for all that you do, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right.
Tamara from Iowa. Nice. Good call there. She wants to be on that all StoryLine team, which I'm changing it to an all StoryLine squad. Okay, all StoryLine squad. I'm changing it to that. That's what's going to be on the T-shirts. So that's where we're going with that. All right, let's go to Chuck D in Bridge City, Texas.
Hey, Nick.
What's up, Chuck?
Hey, I got a reference to me, I think, about the All-Star lineup that I picked, which is pretty cool. Somebody listen to me.
You said that. You said that as well.
I called you last week and talked about I wanted you, Nate, Broadus, and you said you'd be the youngest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you threw Mickey in there, didn't you?
Yeah, Mickey. You got to have him with his little attitude. So I've been reading your Next Man Up columns, which are good.
Thank you.
So I don't know if there's one already about receivers, but I'm assuming you're going to put Tolbert. But I was going to say Jalen Brooks. Last year in camp, y'all talked about how he was catching everything.
Yep.
He's big. He's big. I don't know how fast he is, but he's a big. We need that possession type.
Yep. He's on the list. He's on the list. Tolbert was the first one I did back maybe last week or a week and a half ago. Tolbert was first on the list, but Brooks will be in there as well before we try to end it before the draft. So
okay.
Yeah, but he's in that group because you're right. I mean, he has a chance to step up as well. Had a nice rookie year, has a chance to do a little bit more than that. So yeah, I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, I got something different. I'm 40. I've seen the 90s, but I was too young to appreciate. So out of all the teams that have gone to the playoffs and let us down, 07, Romo, T.O., 14, you had Dez and DeMarco, 16, rookie Dak, Zeke, and then the past 3 years, of course, which, lately they make you feel like that kid in the movie that their dad promises they're going to show up and he never does, and guess what? He doesn't show up. That's how I feel now. But for me, it was the '07 year. That year really hurt, and I thought they had the best chance.
Yeah, without a doubt, that was the best football team that I think I've ever covered for the Cowboys. That '07 team, they had it all. They did, and so T.O. doesn't get hurt. I think that early on, I think that changes things. He got hurt later in the season, and that affected him all the way through in the playoffs, in the playoff game, without a doubt. But yeah, I think that team could have done it. I don't know how they would have fared against the Patriots, but would have liked to have seen it. We already saw it earlier in the year, so it makes me think that it was going to be tough, but you never know.
Yeah. I actually went to that New England game in Texas Stadium where Marion Barber got pushed into the end zone and made it out. That was awesome. Yeah, that was a great 2-yard run for sure. And actually, I think they're working on a documentary on Marion Barber, and I can't remember. I think it was Jason Garrett that actually was interviewed for it and said not only is Marion Barber breaking tackles in the end zone, but if you look at the guys, they're all Hall of Famers. Or future Hall of Fame. I think it was like Wilfork and Brewski and Rodney Harrison. I'm not sure they're all in the Hall of Fame, but I'm sure they're up there as finalists and things like that. We're talking about all pro type guys. So he was making the best players whiff there and just to get back to the line of scrimmage or get 2 yards. But yeah, it was awesome. That was one of those games too where you're like, this was close for a while, but after 60 minutes. You could see how one team was just that much better than the other. And, that's what a good football team does is they just stay with it. They take your best shot. They just keep coming. By the end of the game, the dust settles. You can see who the better team was. I think the Cowboys did that a few times this last year, just kind of close games, but they keep scoring. And then they stop the other team from scoring, and you look up, and they've won by 24. There's a few games like that. Yeah, the last game of the year with Commanders.
That's one. Carolina was one, as well. Some of those games there, the Giants, Washington, early on, you just kind of, next thing you know, like, man, they keep scoring. And, that's why, because when you have pass rushers that just want to get in the game and still get sacks and all that stuff, they never let the pressure off.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate the call. Thank you. All right, let's go to Al in Merkel, Texas. Al, what's up?
Hey, Nick, what's going on?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
Hey, I just wanted to thank you for the second team mentioned the other day. I'm glad I was listening. I haven't really been listening much because I'm not going to lie, that playoff loss it's still taking a toll on me. And I've never been within the last 10 years, I haven't been a fan of listening to the draft show because 10 years ago, I was really anticipating us getting this one player, and we didn't get him. I got all mad again, so I thought it's not worth it. So I'll probably listen a little here and now, but I'll get back into it once training camp starts. But once again, I just want to say thank you for the mention. I love your show, still love it, and love everybody that talks about it. And then one last thing, this is a little bit off the subject, and I hope it's okay, but tell your dad if he ever needs a drummer to play somewhere at a senior citizens home or somewhere, I can play that country music.
Okay.
And I would love to play with him. And I'm only 2 hours away from Wichita Falls. So.
Okay. All right. Well, he's not there. He's actually in Fort Worth. So.
That's 2 hours away too.
So yeah, same thing. But yeah, no, he's still playing. I was just with him on Sunday. He playing in front of a good crowd. And there was a 98-year-old lady. She was making requests and all that. It was awesome. But yeah, thank you for saying that, Al. And you never know. He might need that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, that's the one thing that I really love is music and the Cowboys. So. Like I said, I'm being serious. If you ever need a drummer, just let me know.
All right. I will definitely do that.
Thanks again, Nick.
Thank you, Al. That's good stuff. Hope you make sure if you haven't already, get your shirt size in so we can get you a shirt. All right. We got the lines are open right now, 888-855-2297 or text line 817-290-3298. Don't have a text or a call right now, but that's okay. Chris, we working back there? What we got going on here? Nothing?
Yeah, I was on the phone. Sorry. You want to go next one? Yeah, Jacob in Corpus Christi. I'm sorry, I haven't put on a sheet.
All good. Jacob.
Hey, what's up, Nick? How's it going?
I feel like that's like my life right there. My son's 8-year-old. His name is Jacob, and I'm just yelling at him all the time, like, Jacob. Sorry. Jacob.
Nah, you're good.
What's up?
I'm used to it. You're used to it. I got that from my mom as well.
I bet you did, yeah. You probably got a middle name in there, too. Like, you're really in trouble. Get the middle name and the first name.
Oh, yeah. At the grocery store, Jacob David.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's no good. So,
yes, sir.
Kind of like the Rangers bullpen here. No good. Sorry, the Rangers are playing right now, and they can't keep a lead. All right. All good. What's up, man?
Hey, Nick, I had a question for you. I'm sorry if it's been discussed, but, man, it's been bothering me all offseason. What in the world happened with Brandon Cooks? Like, I don't understand. The dude's had 1,000 yards, and then he comes over here. And I don't know what it is. It's like the same thing with Amari and CD. We couldn't get both of them going at the same time.
Whoa. Time out. Wait, Brandon Cooks? Are we saying
yes,
he did not have a good year? I thought he had a good year. I mean, what am I missing?
I was kind of expecting a little more. The 1,000-yard receiver, and then there were times where he was open and he wasn't getting the ball. And I understand it was the offensive line as well.
Well, let's also factor something else in too. I mean, like, of when he got 1,000 yards. Was there anyone, and I don't know this, I have to look this up, but all those years that he got 1,000 yards, was there anyone else on his team that got 1,700 yards? I mean,
nah, you're right.
I'm just saying, like his role's different a little bit. I thought he did it well. I mean, to me, Brandon Cooks was a pro's pro, man. He came in here, he never complained about anything. Yeah, there was a time he got kind of a slow start. He had to figure that out. One thing him and Dak figured out is that fade to the corner of the end zone. I felt like they did that 3 or 4 times. Almost took out Chris Beam in the Detroit game for a touchdown. But, I mean, he was able to, kind of slide past it and get the great shot. But I thought Brandon Cooks actually had a really good season when you consider the fact that I mean you have an all-pro receiver who set Cowboy individual single season records in CeeDee Lamb. Then you have a tight end that blew up at the end of the season. Ferguson seems to be a problem now for opposing teams. So when you factor that in and Cooks, I thought that was great what Cooks did. I mean, it wasn't 1,000 yards, but I mean they have a legit number one that they made sure to get the ball to, because Lord knows if he starts getting 1,000 yards and we see CeeDee Lamb get a little, dip a little bit, everyone's going to be like, why can't they get the ball to CD? What's the problem? So they got the ball to their star player, and their number 2 guy was pretty good. I have a hard time saying that anything was wrong with Brandon Cooks. I thought it was a really good passing game with that 1-2 punch.
I just wouldn't say it was him. It was more of when CD wasn't having a good game, a la in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's like, man, there's a reason. There's a reason we traded for Brandon Cooks. It's like, you can't get CD going, and they're eyeing him because, like you're saying, CD's numero uno, and he's the big dog in the offense.
Yeah.
That's why you fall on Brandon Cooks. But thanks for your time, Nick. I hope you have a good day, man.
All right. Thank you, too. And, I mean, I heard a lot about Gallup, and we know that was the case. But, I think, you get them all back in for the second season of this offense and this passing game. I think it'll even be better because this is going to be a time like there are teams that have the Cowboys on the schedule, the defensive coordinators that are like, we're going to stop CeeDee Lamb. Like he's not going to do this to us. This is what we're going to do. If that happens, that's where Cooks and Ferguson have got to really shine, and I think that they will. But I would imagine there's going to be some teams that are really zeroing in on how to stop CeeDee Lamb this year. So Detroit should be one of them. I'm sure, he played Detroit. He went for 228 on them or something like that. I mean, that would be a team where you're like, okay, we've got to make sure and stop him. And you can't stop everyone. And that's where Cooks and Ferguson and Tolbert and those guys like that are really going to have to step up. All right, Ray in Fort Worth.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Ray? How are you?
Hanging in there.
You all right?
So I hear all these people complaining about Steven and Jerry. I mean, that's how they are. It does no good to complain. Now, you can argue that this just drafting and signing your own guys ain't working, because it's definitely not. And I think most of the frustration with me is you look at the Eagles. The Eagles are up against cap. They sign their own guys. Now they go out and get Saquon Barkley. I mean, it gets a little frustrating. Mm-hmm. And to me, yeah, you're going to be a Cowboys fan, and Jerry knows that, but there's nothing wrong with having a Cowboys fan have to earn your fandom. I mean, I'll give you a quick story. I mean, when I grew up a Cowboys fan, and pretty much nobody else in there Cowboys fan. My mother was a diehard Saints fan, and she'd let you know it, which is fun. But I grew up back when I was a little kid, camping in the backyard. Get a tent out, put it in the backyard, and camp out in the tent and watch Monday Night Football. Mm-hmm. So I've been growing up, I grew up as a little kid reading Mickey Spagnola's column. Mm. Because the lady across the street would give me, she would always give me that part of paper. So I've been a diehard fan all that time. But it's to the point now, there's nothing wrong with having them earn your fandom. And if I could have a player back to help this team, that win. I mean, there was times that he was kind of like a Sean Lee. I mean, he could call out plays. I remember watching a game. I can't remember the exact name, but I remember the play. You could hear the mic. The mic just picked it up so cool. He would just like, watch the shovel. Yeah. I mean, you could see him calling out plays. I would like to have him back because Parcells, I remember what he said about him. That Wynn's just a football playing dude. If I can have 10 more of those, I'd be, So that's where I'm at with that. And I think, the Texans, the Texans are doing what Dallas should have done when Dak was on his rookie deal. See, why they got why they got him on why they, what they got Stroud on a rookie deal, and you see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I don't know, we got so many holes and not enough draft picks, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be a rough season. I already know it. So all right, thank you for what you're doing, and thanks for taking the call.
No problem.
No
problem.
Later.
Thanks, Ray. I mean, that you make some good points. I think a lot of times people see, and I'm not trying to defend the Cowboys on this. I just want to point out that things are operated differently. There's 53 guys on the roster. So, and y'all know that. But my point is that there's just different ways to achieve the goal. And I think with Houston, you look at that rookie deal. Let's go and let's add some pieces around it before we have to really pay Stroud. That's kind of what they're thinking. Now, this is also a team that won like one game, 2 games, or something like that. So they don't have any players. So they gotta add some. They're adding. That's what they're doing. Now, when Dak was on his rookie deal, remember this was a team that was pretty good, just 2 years removed from a really good team in 2014. So they had some players. So they've extended, they've paid, they've done some things. They had to pay some of their own, which is kind of what they do now. Going to the Eagles have a different strategy. They do not have the same strategy as the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are trying not to be as top heavy as they've been in the past and try to really spread this thing out throughout their whole roster from 1 to 53. That doesn't leave them with a ton of holes. Look at Philadelphia. I mean, everyone keeps saying, look at the Eagles, but also like when it hits the fan, like it hits the fan, and when people always make that reference about, hits the fan, well, what happens? Flies all over the place. And look at the Eagles, look at their team. When it's going well, it's going well. But once the injuries pile up and then they start having problems, the bottom drops out. And it's happened to them before. So all I'm saying is because they've got great pieces here and there, but they're not built as deep. And they made it to the Super Bowl twice now. So they've had, you can argue that that's the way to do it. They're going to go up, they're going to go down. Cowboys do it a little differently. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm just saying, why do they keep doing that? It's because they'll grab players to just fill up the bottom of their, the bottom of their roster. It hurts their depth, hurts their special teams. And there's other teams that do that. Again, this is not me saying, I'm not crapping on what the Eagles do. I'm just saying they do it differently. That is why that you'll see some of those. They're a little bit more top heavy than actually trying to build it and stretch it out and have really good pieces all across the board. That's one way to do it. So all right, let's go to Anthony in Miami.
My guy Nick the Quick, what's up?
What's up, buddy?
Baby? Hey man, just chilling, catching the end of the show. Want to throw my little 2 cents in. First of all, two comments.
Okay.
Fandom. hit fandom again. Not as extreme as I went before, but I would like to say, if you're in the range of 47 and over, 50, 60s, yeah, you've seen some things with the Cowboys. You know about the 2 Super Bowls. You know about the Cowboys being America's team in the 70s when the Pittsburgh Steelers basically should have been there because they won 4 Super Bowls. But the Cowboys taking that. And in the 90s, and you were there of age to understand and realize what those championships meant and how it brought us back. But with the same token, if you're in that 25-year-old to 32-year-old range, and people say, well, we haven't seen that. We don't know what a championship. That's why you guys are saying it, whatever. No, guys, guess what you've seen, though? They haven't won one. They haven't even went to an NFC championship game. But turn on the TV. Who do you see? Turn on any Cowboy, any media. Who do they talk about? Most popular team. Worth the most. If you rank 17 weeks of football, the Cowboys in 5 of the highest rated shows, I guarantee you, are the 5 of the highest rated showings every year for the last couple of years.
Whose point are you making, though? Are you making your point, or are you making the fans that are frustrated? Because I think that's why they're frustrated. Because it's not leading to anything.
It's not. Okay, now there you go. Let's bring it home. Okay, so let's blame like we said. Your team has been 12-5, my team, right?
Right.
Let's bring it home. The players. Jerry's giving you everything. You just haven't gotten it done. Yeah, you've had individual success, but you haven't gotten it done, players. I don't know why we can't get over the hurdle in certain games. You're there. You're on the verge of that. Let's find out why we can't get over that hurdle. Are we lacking things? Are we lacking discipline in those games? Are we lacking accountability? Because we were there 2 years in a row. Yeah. We were right there under 7 points with the Niners. And, yeah, we got blown out last year by Green Bay. So let's find out why we're not showing up in the big games. But no matter what happens, all Anthony is saying is I'm going to be a Cowboy fan. I'm ride or die. You can believe that. And hopefully we get a championship. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
No, I know.
That's all I'm saying.
And that makes, as you brought it home, that made a point there. I mean, because I was like, nobody cares about the, being on TV and all that kind of stuff. Like that part is only just, it adds to the frustration. What it does is it fuels these national, the national media that want to just hate on the Cowboys to say, they're always in the news and they don't do anything, which obviously is their producer that puts them there because they know that they drive ratings. We get all that, but yeah, I mean. You're right about that. And Anthony, thanks for the call. We got to keep it moving. We got another call, but thank you. Yes, but I'll say this though, and that's why I never really understand all this, like, all the backlash right now for Jerry, in that they can't get the job done. When I agree with Anthony on that. Like, his job is the general manager and the owner of the team is to put together this roster that can go win and go compete. And all through the year get to that point. And the last 3 years, they've done that. They've put themselves in position to go out, win games in big moments. And they haven't gotten the job done. So, I mean, because we all know if Jerry tried to get in there, I mean, everyone hated when he stepped a foot on the sideline. Not that ever mattered. I've been on the sidelines for many games. I don't factor into anything. So, I mean, I'm just saying, but they don't want Jerry getting too far into it. He's not a coach, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so what he does, he's a GM, put the team together and let them go win. And so they've gotten there, they've gotten close enough, and then all of a sudden, for whatever the reason, they're not good enough. They just haven't gotten over the hump, And is that Jerry? I don't think so, but I mean, there, people seem to think that it is. I look at the players. It's up to them. I mean, some of these guys that had phenomenal seasons, they no-showed in the playoffs. And you put that on the coaching if you want, put that on the players, whatever. But, at that point, I think the hay was in the barn. Go out there and win the game. And they didn't do that. I'm not saying don't point. I mean, you can point the finger at everything, but let's be reasonable about it. So, all right, let's go to Dylan in Northport, Florida. Dylan, what's up?
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm actually calling from Disney World right now today here with the family, and I had a little break, so I thought I'd give you a call.
Wait, there are breaks in Disney World? I didn't think. I mean, I thought it was just nonstop. Yeah.
They're on test track right now. They're on a ride, and my youngest is too little, so she's sitting here chilling with the old dad, and figure I'd give you a ring.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's definitely a first. I'd like to see the side eye that you're getting there from around. Like, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? Oh, I'm calling in on the Cowboys storyline here, right in the middle of.
I try to find a little nook here to hide and maybe limit the background noise, but I do see a lot of Cowboys fans walking around. I had like 3 different jerseys walk by me while I'm sitting here, so they probably think it was pretty cool.
That's cool. That's awesome. So
yeah, man.
Well, what?
So I guess in the spirit of the happiest place on earth, I just got 2 kind of quick questions for you. So out of the youngest players on this team, and I guess we just go with guys that are on their first contract, and maybe let's leave out like CD and Micah. What young player would make you the happiest to see succeed this year, or maybe which one do you think is the most important? And then the other one, as far as the draft goes, what 2 positions would make you the happiest to fill with maybe higher end talent, maybe one draft picks 1 through 3 for us? What positions do you want to see filled with those high end picks?
Yeah, well, center. I really think you can get good value for center, and I'd like to see them draft a center because I think that's a position you get a good one. You can plug him in for years to come. So center would be one without a doubt there, and probably like left tackle because I just think if you hit, those guys can play 10, 11 years.
Yeah, I agree. And center's a little worrisome for me right now because I know JPJ's got some medical issues. I've been high on him this whole time, but now he's got some medicals. So if they think the medicals are okay, I'd love to see that guy go at 24 to us, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. And the one player you said to me would be Mozzie Smith. I mean, that just that cures a lot of things. You know, maybe it helps your run defense so he can play really well. And then also, maybe that draft class doesn't get, looked at as poorly as it's getting looked at right now. If you get your number 1 pick and can play well. So
I think Mozzie and Overshown too coming back. I think that those 2 things, if the defense were to stay the same and those 2 guys could play well, I think the defense becomes an elite unit for the entire season, not just half of the season.
Definitely.
Cool.
All right. Well, good luck to you there. Good luck on your wallet there at Disney World, and have a good one. Thanks for calling. Thanks for taking a break
Nick.
there. All right. Take that, Mickey and Minnie and Cinderella and all them that, you know what? Take a break from them and call a storyline. Love it. It's hard to compete with those characters. All right. Speaking of characters, how about Randy in Texarkana?
Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, you did decide not to hang up on us this time.
Nah, man. I'm kind of glad that happened. I was sitting there in my truck listening to this little band out of Nashville, Tennessee called Pickup Sticks. They're pretty good. They're not country. They ain't rock. They right in the middle. And so it put me in a good mood. I was thinking to myself, I'm almost glad I did have to hang up Tuesday. I wasn't in the right state of mind. Okay. And I think I was just going to make fun of some callers and probably talk bad about them. I didn't want to do that. They're all Cowboy fans. I got love for them. But last Thursday's show, toward the end there was one caller that had all them different scenarios and whatnot. And, man, that made me want to drive my truck straight into an oak tree listening to this.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't do that, and I'm glad you had some self-control. That's something that I could do better at. You think one way. Yeah, you know what? It's probably better not to do that. It's called maturing. Good job, Randy.
There you go.
About time.
Yep. I felt good about it, so I thought I'd call in today, hopefully make up for it. But and I had me a nice little old funny draft up and down scenario going. I already had it worked up in my head how I was going to do it and everything, and unless you just want to hear it still. But no, what I was calling in for is how many picks do we have this year total right now? Just plain
6.
6? Ooh. Okay, I was thinking of 7. 6. All right. Well, anyway, maybe they'll do a little work to that and get some more numbers. But with the new special teams set up the way they're doing it, I almost want to say they could take advantage of the last 2 picks and look at them as, instead of pick number 5 and pick number 6, they could be pick 1B, pick 2B. And when you get down there to the end like that, I apologize if you hear that beeping, that somebody's trying to call me on the line. Anyway, those last 2 picks of the draft almost, because, they rarely make the team. I'm sure some do, and there's a percentage and all that. But generally, the last couple picks, they're just kind of extras. devote those strictly to special teams, and the scouts should put together like the top 10 best special team, or however many they want to do, just so that they can cover their board. Special team players, and when you get down to those last two picks, if one, two, three of the top 3 special team guys in the nation, maybe instead of, hey, I need an extra lineman or whatever, don't worry about their playing position and draft them strictly on maybe trying to have the best special team. Because with this new rule, if it plays out like they want it to, there's a chance for some action there. And if you put together the right blockers, because, I mean, it doesn't have to be a bunch of little young six-pack guys out there. It could be some big, boogers out there, as long as they know how to hold up their blocks, shed blocks, get in the right spot. And that, man, there's chance for some stuff happening there.
Right.
I think maybe they should. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. That special teams is going to be more important. I answered this on a mailbag the other day that while that sounds good, we still don't know exactly what type of player is going to be used there or not. It's going to be some trial and error on what type of guys are the blockers on the kick team, kick return. And also, you still have to field your team, your backup players. So I don't think you're going to load up on this position or what. I still think it's going to be about the same. But to answer your question about the kick return, like this new rule, like, we don't know that yet because nobody's that's coming into the draft has ever played it, really. You know what I mean? Right. That's not what they do in college. So it's just going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. What you're saying is put an emphasis on special teams. I think you're right with that. I think what it is this linebacker is pretty good. This one's about the same, but this one has actually played 2 or 3 years of special teams, punt return, kick return.
Right.
That guy, a little more emphasis that way. And I'm not sure that's not the tiebreaker anyways. I see Fossil in the room. He's probably saying that. But, so good point. Special teams still needs to be a big focus.
And, and like you said, trial and error, so it may take a couple seasons. But if this does go the way they're hoping, and somebody can, say, build a special teams like you would a offense or defense, and because most part special teams, like you said, is the extra guys, the bottom guys. What if they weren't? What if several years down the line you have a special teams of top quality across the board, and that could be a large part of the game.
Yeah,
and they could do something with that.
Yeah. Well, let me stand corrected. There's 7 picks. 7 picks, and 2 in the 7th round. So
right. And, like I said, the bottom 2 are usually just, what do we got left? Just grab the best one. Like, instead of it just being a little bit of a throwaway pick, actually make it count this time,
right.
and you might actually be able to hold on a few of those bottom guys on purpose now. And so it gives the players a little more hope, too, the ones that know they're not first and second day draftees. At least maybe they have a little hope that, hey, I'm good at this. Maybe they'll take me to that.
True. Yeah.
Just my thoughts.
Good thoughts. Well, all right. Well, glad that you called us back and got yourself in the right frame of mind. Like it. Thanks for the call, Randy. We're up against it here. We're going to move on. One more caller. Thank you. We're going to go one more caller here. Wilson in Virginia Beach. What's up, bud?
Hey, Nick.
How are you doing?
Hey, good, man. How are you?
Great. What's up?
Good. Hey, man. So I just got off work. I haven't heard a word of the show so far.
Okay.
But I heard the recording from last show, and I kind of wanted to add something to that caller who asked about trying to be optimistic about this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking about it. I thought about it pretty much right away. One of the things that I'm optimistic about is the fact that everybody's got something to play for. Not the coaches and the players. A lot of players are playing for contracts, not necessarily that they're on their last years. A lot of them are maybe, but a lot of them are still playing for something in the season after that. So I just feel like a lot of players, after they get paid, not all of them, but a lot of them, after they get paid, they kind of, lose production. I don't want to say they get lazy, but they definitely lose production. And I feel like with a lot of the players that are playing for something, they're going to go all out this season, and I feel like we're going to get everybody's best. And I feel like we do get their best most of the time, but I just feel like this is going to be a little bit different. I feel like there's going to be a different feel there. And one more quick thing as well is whenever the media and our fan bases are kind of not expecting us to have a great season, we kind of flip it and have a great season. So I kind of feel like that might be in our favor as well when we're kind of underdogs. So, yeah.
It happens. You're right about that. All right, thanks for the call. Wilson said you were the last one. Chris keeps adding calls here. That's fine. One more thing about this that I'll add in about what you said. I'm not sure that the players actually lose production after they sign a deal. I think what happens is, they might lose some, but I think more than anything, the expectations from fans, media, whatever, players, team, owners, all that goes up higher. It's just like, all right, now you were making 1.2 million, but now you're making 16. So we expect this much of a jump, and sometimes that's hard to do. It's almost impossible to meet the expectations when the money goes like that. I've seen it too many times. You got a really good player, he's young, up and coming, and then they get paid, and then they just get viewed completely different. And it's just hard to compete with the expectations of a big contract. So I think that's what happens, honestly, more than anything about when a guy gets paid like that. All right, one more call. Johnson from Fullerton, California. Johnson?
Hey, Nick. Busy show today. I made it in just in time.
You made it. What's up, man? First time
Hey,
call?
I just wanted to say a few free agent questions. I couldn't listen live, so if you touched them on already, then that's fine. But Royce Freeman, curious on are the numbers in for his contract and stuff, what we paid for him? I'm curious, just comparing to all the running backs we didn't sign because there's too much money. So I'm curious what we paid for Royce Freeman. I'm not sure anyone thinks he's the answer, but he's the name in there that we're hoping works out. Also, I'm just going to run through a few, and then you can just touch them so I know you're running late. Also, I remember a while ago, I think it was Girls Talk, Boys Talk did an interview with one of the players, and they compared Kendricks as another Anthony Barr. I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't remember loving Anthony Barr's play last season.
Yeah.
And last question, is there any – I know we won't be able to fill all the needs or wants we have in the draft, but I'm pretty confident we won't be able to. So are there any positions or maybe specific names that are free agents that you are wouldn't mind seeing going to free agency instead of the draft? We're putting a lot of eggs in baskets in the draft, and there has to be a few names there's this guy still out there, so maybe we have to see blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
You mean veteran free agents?
Veteran, anyone available that we're not picking up in the draft.
Yeah.
It could be.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Johnson. Was that first time caller? No?
No, third time caller, the Cursed Californian, 0-9, all the games.
Got it. I don't remember that, Johnson. I do remember Fulton, California, though. All right, good stuff. Appreciate that. We'll go quickly there. I don't really have a lot of names for you, but I know that you get to this point where the Cowboys, you have guys they could sign. I'm a little surprised that they signed Royce Freeman, but they're guys that you can bring in. They're going to wait and see what happens in the draft. See because running back is so thin that you can still, it's not going to change. Royce Freeman doesn't change their draft strategy at all. It's just another guy. It's a big body. For sure, that can maybe be a goal line type back, short yardage back, veteran. He's bounced around. He's been with different teams. So I think that was just kind of putting a Band-Aid on the position. They had 166 total carries in the NFL among all the running backs, with Dowdle and Snoop Connor and Malik Davis and Deuce and Lipke and all of them. And this guy's got like almost 500. So just more experience, been around different teams, different coaches, different off-season programs, weight rooms, that kind of stuff. I think could probably just be a good voice for the room. And so that's kind of what I think about Royce Freeman and what I think about veteran free agents. As for the Kendricks comment, I'm not sure, didn't hear that, but it's probably more of an Anthony Barr type of comparison because of the relationship with Mike Zimmer, a guy that has coached. He's played for Zimmer, played in that system, understands it. Now, Barr was here. He didn't play in that system. But Kendricks understands exactly what Zimmer is trying to do. He's the new guy, and yet he's probably understands what they're doing way more than anyone else. So he's actually, he's probably going to be the veteran voice of the group, even though he's new to the locker room, but not new to the defense. Maybe that was what the comparison was with Anthony Barr. Okay, 14 calls, outstanding. Went a little over today. Josh, hope that's okay. Back there in the back. All good, though. We will see you guys next week because it will be draft week next week. Stay tuned to the schedule, too. We'll definitely do the show on Tuesday. We're going to look and see. We might switch it up, do a Friday show instead. Great stuff for Chris Beam. I'm Nick Eatman. See you next time on Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?